was efficient. He was, look, he was a little rusty, a couple of little throws. He and Swift were on the same page on the first interception, and that's not all him. That's on both of them. The long pick that he had, that was a hell of a throw. Now, you'd like to just pull it inside just a little bit, but, he pulled the trigger on it, and he gave us a chance. And it's either got to be our ball or nobody's, but you got to throw some of those. So, and look, I wanted to be smart, too. I didn't want to throw this kid to the wolves. That's not fair to him either. So I thought for what we asked him to do, he was solid, and a couple of those interceptions are, there again, one of them, it's like, well, that's the price to do business, and you hope it's not the price because, like I say, it's yours or nobody's. And then the first one is just, you going in, you going out, what are you doing? Don't throw it, and so, but no, I'm not disappointed in the kid, I'm not disappointed in him.
I wouldn't be disappointed per se either, and that's Dan Campbell talking about Tim Boyle. I wouldn't be disappointed in him either because that might be one of the best he's got.
Yeah.
Look, in college, this guy wasn't very good. If you literally go back to some of his college numbers, he's not very good.
He made the Packers. He backed up Aaron Rodgers.
That just doesn't mean anything. They don't
Sure
get 100% of their decisions right.
Just telling you, the guy's been around in the NFL, so teams did like him. He must show something. He has nothing to work with except the running game.
Yeah,
Hawkinson.
I'm kind of done with that excuse, actually.
Yeah, I am too.
Actually.
I am too. Just wanted to give him an excuse.
Yeah, going back to something you said, Maz, like, just because you last a lot of times in the NFL, it doesn't mean you're good. Like what happens a lot of times, especially at the quarterback position, especially special teams position, people like you. You're a good guy. You show up to time. You show up to work on time. Like you're great at breaking down film. You're great at helping the other quarterbacks. You're great at doing certain things. Quarterbacks can take a shine. Like some coaches can take a shine to you and say, you know what? I like this guy. I'm gonna keep this guy around because I may have a spot for him on my coaching staff at some time in the future. He's cheap. I've seen a lot of guys be on teams, and I'm like, how the hell is this guy on the team? Like, you just don't understand. But they get buddy-buddy with a coach. They get buddy-buddy with front office and things like that. They're good guys. They stay around. And you see these same guys a couple years later on the coaching staff. They end up becoming head coaches. But to your point, and to what Dan Campbell said, he did what they asked him to do. I actually don't have a problem with the two interceptions. I don't have a problem with. One, he went for it. On the deep ball, he went for it. He gave it a chance. We don't see Jared Goff do that. Like, he threw the ball out there. He was trying to make something happen. Hey, you know what? He threw a 50-50 ball. Should threw it a little outside, like Dan Campbell said. He threw a little inside. And with the other one, you got the running back making the decisions. Like, are you going in? Are you going out? Is it man? Is it zone? Are you going to sit down? Little miscommunication there. Outside of that, like you said, he's not that good of a quarterback. So he did not that good of a quarterback type things.
One of the things that I think, obviously comes into question is the draw play on 3rd and 14. That's right. The highlight, I think, of this game. That decision right there. So either you have a quarterback that is incapable of throwing the football and not turning it over in that situation, or you have no belief in the fact that quarterback can throw the football. Neither of them are good options or good choices. So I just don't even know what to make of these guys anymore. There's about four games in there that they could have won.
Right.
Could have won. The Browns game yesterday, the Vikings game,
Baltimore,
the Ravens game. Well, okay, so 3 games.
The Bears
and the Steelers, and the Steelers. No, the Steelers
and the Bears
and the Bears. Three trips inside the red zone.
Yeah. They had a chance in L.A.
You came away with 0 points.
They had a chance in L.A.
You came away with 0 points. This roster, I don't believe, is as bad as we all want to make excuses for.
Right.
Just so.
Right.
Why do we? Because we like Dan Campbell. Is that?
I'm afraid you might be right on part of that.
Just because we like the guy, he comes in and he talks it. Look, I love Dan Campbell. I love the guy. He's a great motivational speaker. But I do think you need your head coach to kind of help you out a little bit, win some of these games if you have a deficient roster talent-wise. And he is not doing that. Yeah. He's not helping these guys win football games.
He kept them in the games. His play calling has kept them in the last 2 games against better teams, superior teams. So his play calls have been pretty good. 25% of them have sucked, I think.
Is it his play calling or is it Aaron Glenn's defense? That's kept
Well,
him in.
Aaron Glenn's defense is playing
That's
way
what's-
over their heads.
Exactly. That's
They're
what's
playing
keeping them in the
terrific.
game. And to your point, I don't think we're making too many excuses for when we say, you know what, this team is undermanned, they're understaffed, they're deficient. Because, you know, whenever we would play games and we would look at the schedule and you have guys out, and let's say I play wide receiver, so I'm looking at the schedule, I'm looking at the depth chart, and I see starting cornerback out, and I'm looking at I have to go against the third guy on the team, the fourth guy. I'm laughing. I'm licking my chops. I'm like, ha! This is going to be a great day. That's how every team looks at the Detroit Lions' whole staff. I mean, whole team, whole squad. That's how they look at them. When players are looking at you like, oh, yeah, we're going to have a field day. We're going to turn up. Everybody's thinking they're going to have the type of day that Nick Chubb had or the type of day that Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow had when they look at the Detroit Lions. I've been there. You see guys that you know aren't good, or you see guys that you know can't match up against you. That's your mindset. And the fact that that's the mindset lets you know that these guys are understaffed.
Josh Reynolds didn't help himself yesterday.
No, he
did
did
not help his
Oh,
team
man, no, he
yesterday. Trinity
Had it-
Benson did not dress again. So
Go figure.
you got all of that. Tom Kennedy even dressed for crying
I'm going
out
to give
loud.
Josh Reynolds the benefit of the doubt because he does have a track record of being a legitimate wide receiver in this league. And we have seen with so many other guys, whether it's Odell Beckham in L.A., whether even a guy who's had a long training camp. Look at Julio Jones in Tennessee. First games with new teams have not been very good this year. So we'll see if Josh Reynolds gets a little better. But
With the
to your-
exception of Zach Ertz.
Right,
with
with
the
the
Cardinals.
tight end a little bit different,
Yeah,
maybe. But we'll see if he gets any better. To your point, he's not playing with a talented quarterback out there, and I don't understand the decision. David Blough must really be bad, and I don't know how else to say it because if you're going to start a guy who comes off IR instead of the guy that's been working the reps all season long as Jared Goff's backup, probably understands the offense a little bit better. What's he doing here if he's not going to be playing?
There has to be something else going wrong because I actually watched, this past summer training camp, the Olympics were going on, and David Blough's wife is an Olympic hurdler.
Yes.
She runs the 400 hurdles, and they made a big deal about it, and the Lions talked about that, and they talked about it, and you saw the love that he was getting, the attention. They talked about him in training camp. He talked about him being the backup. You and I sat here and talked about it. I told you I remember him at Purdue because he went back and forth with Elijah Sindelar a couple years back, and I actually liked him. He made some plays, he made some throws. We thought he was going to be the guy. Something must have happened. Like something has happened throughout the season. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a nick. Maybe it's an injury. Maybe it's a little something that he's nursing all season because he was the guy. And all of a sudden you put Tim Boyle in. When he comes back, you put him in, and then you see how he plays. So something has to be going on with David Blough.